Hi, I'm James Wilkinson and I've been a travel editor for over 20 years. On this show, we're going to take you to some of the world's most amazing destinations, from the big cities to the great regional areas. We'll go inside some of the world's best hotels, bars, restaurants, galleries, and much more. Right now, we're in New York City, and this is Wayfarer. Brooklyn's one of the hottest boroughs in New York right now, and one of the most popular neighbourhoods is Williamsburg. It's home to trendy bars and restaurants, amazing street art, waterfront festivals, chic boutiques, and some of the most stylish hotels in America. One of them is the Wythe Hotel, which is located in a former cooperage and features some of the hippest rooms, bars and restaurants in this thriving neighbourhood in New York City. We're here inside the Cooper Room at the beautiful and boutique Wythe Hotel in Williamsburg in New York. I'm talking to the owner and general manager, Peter, and mate, what a beautiful event space is down here.
Thank you so much. One of the great joys of starting with a very old building is these found spaces. So we put some lights and a new floor in, but we have this fabulous vaulted ceiling, and yeah, it's a great venue for small groups, private dining, small cocktail parties, all of these things.
And tell us about the history of this building. It was a cooperage at one stage.
Yeah, it was built in 1901 as a cooperage. They made barrels for the sugar industry, which was what ran the waterfront at the turn of the century. And when we found it, it was a textile factory, kind of an interesting one that did everything from grass mat wall coverings to textiles for NASA and acoustic fabrics. But they were winding down their business and looking to sell the building, and we kind of won the lottery when we caught this one.
Quite amazing, because when this opened, there were no other hotels around here at the time.
There weren't, certainly nothing that felt like it belonged in Brooklyn, and that was our mantra from the beginning, was to build something that both belonged in Brooklyn and reflected the real spirit of the borough, as much as it was changing at that time and continues to.
And you've got 70 rooms with some beautiful suites overlooking Manhattan as well.
We do, yeah. Our westward view across the river, runs right into the Empire State Building and all of Midtown Manhattan. And it's lovely to have that perspective. If you live in the city, there's not so many options that you get outside of it and see, what fabulous madness it really is.
Yeah.
But from Brooklyn, we get that view every day.
And you opened a bar in here, which has a backdrop of one of the best backdrops of any bar, I think, in New York City.
Yeah, up on the 6th floor, which was the roof of the original building. Here we have a cocktail bar and a bunch of outside space up there that in the spring and summer is a very popular spot for our neighbours, and starting to be for tourists and visitors from all over the world, which is great.
You make some great drinks in there as well.
We make some great drinks, yes. I have talented young people making great drinks up there.
And speaking of drinks, in your restaurant here, you have got one of the more interesting wine lists I think I've ever seen in New York.
Yeah, the guys are focused on natural wines as much as they possibly can, and trying to turn people on to what that really means. So they're much less processed. They can be a little funkier. But that becomes an interesting conversation with people that are having dinner with us, for sure.
Here with Basile, the wine director. And Basile, you've got an incredible wine list here at the hotel.
Thank you.
How do you choose so many amazing natural, organic and biodynamic wines?
Well, we work and focus on mostly organically farmed vineyards and work with a small number of importer distributors that do the hard work, which is sourcing those wines and bringing them inside here in the U.S., which is not an easy task. yeah, just buy from trusted sources.
What do we have here right now?
So actually, this is a non-French wine, but this is what we're currently pouring by the glass here in Reynard. It's a skin contact white wine frizzante from Veneto in Italy. And the estate is called Croci, and the grape is called Orchugo. So talk about a hot grape right now.
Really? Yeah,
Orchugo, yeah. Everyone's begging for Orchugo these days.
Let's try it out.
So it's a white wine with an orange color, obviously, because the skin are macerated for 10 days. And yeah, it's for me it's good because it's a perfect like food wine. There's acid, there's texture, there's tannins, and there's bubbles. So
Let's try it out.
cheers.
Welcome to the Brooklyn Brewery here in Williamsburg. It's one of my favorite craft breweries in America, and today we're doing a tasting of some of their top drops. Come and join me. Well, we're here at the Brooklyn Brewery in Williamsburg in New York, and we're talking beer with Tim from Brooklyn Brewery. Tim, tell us about the great history of this amazing brewery.
Well, before we get into the history, we should be experiencing it. Right?
That's a good point.
So let's start off with the beer, and that kind of starts the story anyway. So what we're pouring here is Brooklyn Lager.
Yeah.
This was our first beer, still our flagship. It's available all around the world. This is in, I want to say 30 countries, about 30 states in the United States. And this is really where it all started. Cheers. Welcome
Cheers.
to Brooklyn.
Thank you. You were saying it was back in '88 when this was first crafted.
So this was our co-founders, Steve Hindy and Tom Potter, kind of set out on this mission to bring brewing back to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You know, back in the 1800s, this borough alone produced about 10% of America's beer.
Wow.
Most of it was drank in New York City bounds because you cram all these people together, they get a little thirsty. We went into Prohibition with somewhere around like 30 breweries in this borough.
Yeah.
And they kind of dwindled down until the 70s, they finally completely died off. Once that happens, you know, Steve and Tom kind of came into the scene, and Steve had been introduced to home brewing over in the Middle East. He was working a lot of dry territories, so folks turned to making their own beer. So when he came back over, he had to get in on that too, because he came back over to, you know, the American beer scene of all these super boring lagers, and said, well, I can't live like this. No. So he started home brewing in his apartment, and that was how he met Tom. Tom lived downstairs, and he would smell him brewing and come upstairs and be like, hey, this smells incredible. What are you up to? And they hatched this idea that they would bring brewing back to this borough. So Brooklyn Lager was the first kind of attempt, and obviously it's mostly worked, as history sort of tells us.
And if you look at that style, I mean, you're very renowned for that style of lager. Not many doing a lager like this.
That's true, yeah. You know, a lager like this kind of takes a certain appreciation for where a beer has been. You know, the lager like this was very popular in Brooklyn when it was the powerhouse that it was last two centuries.
And tell us about the journey now. You've got about 15 or so beers on tap here in the brewery in Brooklyn.
So these beers are available, some of them all over the world, you know, like lager obviously, everywhere we go. Some of them are just available here. So it's really cool to be able to come here and see what we have on tap.
Now we should probably taste a few more of these beers, shouldn't we? Can you do a paddle together for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, mate, thank you so much for doing a bit of a tasting for us and having us here in the brewery.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a pleasure.
Wonderful. Yep. Thank you, sir.
See you at the bar.
Coming up on the next episode of Wayfarer.
Want a true, authentic Texas experience, there's no place better than Fort Worth. And we tried to incorporate that into our local flavor and local color as we built the hotel.
Oh yeah, the walkability of this area is pretty amazing. We've got multiple museums in this district that you can get to on foot.
spending money today, investing time and resources today that we won't see any benefit from for 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 years.
Yeah. Right now, we're in Fort Worth, Texas, and this is Wayfarer.